the Detroit
Yo,
Pistons. The Pistons finished with the 13th seed. They finished 20-46. And for me, the storyline of their season is there's questions all around. What are they doing? Do they want to compete? Do they want to rebuild? You don't know. They went out and signed Mason Plumlee, Jeremy Grant. They traded for DeLon Wright, Rodney McGruder, Musa, because they're giving a chance to Josh Jackson. They signed Jahlil Okafor as well. In my opinion, I think the two worst moves of the offseason were you traded Luke Kennard, who was just coming into his own. And mind you, he got picked one pick above Donovan Mitchell. So you gave up on Luke Kennard, Bruce Brown, who was good, you let him go, and then
nothing.
you let Christian Wood go as well. And I think Christian Wood, Bruce Brown, and Luke Kennard are all young players. They fit your timeline. Why did you trade them? That's my question. Why? Questions all around. They also traded for Dwayne Dedman as well. But in the draft, of course, you got Killian Hayes, Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Bey. And for me, I mean, their starters are probably going to be Killian Hayes, DeLon Wright, Jeremy Grant, Blake Griffin, Mason Plumlee. And off the bench, you got role players like Derrick Rose, Sekou Doumbouya, Sadiq Bey, Wayne Ellington, Jahlil Okafor, Isaiah Stewart, Mihu Luke. He's has a weird last name, but it's just my question. Why did you trade Luke Kennard? Why didn't you re-sign Christian Wood? If you re-signed Christian Wood, you didn't need to sign Mason Plumlee. And I'm pretty sure they gave Mason Plumlee like a $30 million contract, if I'm not mistaken. Christian Woods was like $45 million in total. Christian Wood is young. I would have paid that extra $15 million. And then instead of having this team, I would have had Killian Hayes, Bruce Brown, Luke Kennard, Christian Wood, guys you can build around, Isaiah Stewart with City Bay, guys you can build around. So I don't know. I have questions all around for Detroit. Are they going to trade Derrick Rose? Maybe get a first round pick for him. Are you going to try to where are you going to go? Because
Yeah.
you signed Jeremy Grant, but are you really going to keep Blake Griffin? Are you going to try to trade him because he's not who he once was? Derrick Rose is worth something still. It's just weird all around. It's not. There's just questions all around for me. I don't know if they want to rebuild or if they want to compete for the 8th seed.
Yeah, and we were just talking about the Knicks, and I'll say, like, talent-wise, I think the Pistons, especially, like, even if you eliminate Blake Griffin and Derrick Rose and even Jeremy Grant, if you don't want to consider him a young talent, I think the Pistons have better young talent than the Knicks at the moment. But direction-wise, I think the Knicks are headed in a much better direction than the Pistons, because you mentioned a lot of the question marks that I had. You gave up Christian Wood for 3 worse Christian Woods on similar deals. What was the point of it? He was the bright spot of the season last year for the Pistons, and you let him walk for essentially nothing compared to his value to the team to sign 3 other power forwards that weren't as good as him. It makes no sense. And then just to echo 2 questions that you brought up, I'll ask them even more pressingly. Why is Blake Griffin still in the building? He serves no purpose to this team, and there are playoff teams that I'm sure would take him even if you're selling low on him. I'd be fine with that because he's doing nothing but making you a slightly better team that's going to hurt your draft stock. And the same thing with Derrick Rose. There's playoff contending teams that want him. It's not, you won't even be selling low on Derrick Rose. You'll be selling high on Derrick Rose. You just said it. You could probably get 2 first-round picks for him from
No, you
some
can't.
team
You get
that
one.
is competing
You
for
get
a
one.
playoff spot.
Maybe a 1 and a 2.
If the Lakers hadn't gone out and gotten Dennis Schroeder this year, they probably could have gotten a very nice package from the Lakers. I don't know why they're so trigger shy when it comes to trading guys like Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin. It makes no sense for what they're doing. So Troy Weaver, just a very questionable first off season. I don't know what the plan is here. You look at this team, and again, I think they have some nice young talent. I like the Killian Hayes pick. We mentioned a bunch of the young talent they have. Although they let Christian Wood go, Sekou is a nice player. Shvi Mikhailuk, but again, you let Luke Kennard go for a worse Luke Kennard in John and Musa from the Nets. I watched him. He's not as good as Luke Kennard. So what's the point of doing that deal? It makes
No.
no sense.
They traded Musa for Bruce Brown.
Yeah, and then in that deal, Shamit went to the Nets and Musa went to the
It was
Pistons.
just dumb all around.
So even worse, you gave up Bruce Brown and Luke Kennard, who were good for you last year, and you got back Musa. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't see the direction. I think they're very stagnant and they're not doing what they need to do to commit to the tank. And if you're going to tank, commit to it. There's no reason for $28 million, $30 million a year Blake Griffin to sit there and give you 20 and 8 a night. You just don't need it. Same thing with Derrick Rose. He's a very good player that a playoff team can use. So take that value while you have the chance. You have 3 draft classes coming up that are super hyped. So take advantage of that. It's frustrating looking at this team and seeing there's some potential there and a lot of young talent, but they just seem lost to me. And I hope that Troy Weaver can figure it out, but his first offseason was no indication that that's going to be the case.
Detroit, first, let me start off with the draft. They had a good draft, solid draft. Killian Hayes, I think, is their point guard for the future going forward. I like Derrick Rose mentoring him. I think that's going to be very good. Sadiq Bey is a solid player. I think he can be good. I think Sekou Diombe, whatever his name is, he's going to be good along the lines. He's a great defender early, so he's going to be good down the stretch. Free agency. They paid all these people for what? You paid Jeremy Grant when you could have paid Christian Wood for less. You traded Luke Kennard earlier in the year when he was on a breakout season, and he still has a team option on his deal for next year, so you were still going to have him for cheap. And then Bruce Brown, I don't know why they would let him go. You picked up you have a logjam big man spot. You still have Blake Griffin, who has a player option. He's probably going to accept it next year. It's at $35 million. I would accept it, so I know he's going to accept it. And now you're just stuck because you're in this position with all these bunch of players, and you're not going to be competitive. I mean, I have them maybe getting into the play-in, but they can easily be as low as 13th, 14th in the East. And I don't see the direction. They don't have any talent that wows my eye. Derrick Rose is definitely a trade asset that they should get off the books. You need a first-round pick is essential in this year's draft. They can get another one with Derrick Rose. They maybe can steal another one with Blake Griffin. Maybe they can steal one from another team. I don't know what team, but they could definitely steal one. I think the direction Detroit is going in is pretty bad. I don't know the mindset in paying Mason Plumlee, but this team isn't equipped to be a good playoff team, and this team isn't bad enough to be a bad team. So I think they're just stuck in the middle like Orlando in a sense, but Orlando's a little bit better ahead of them.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. They're stuck. And my projected seeding for them is 14 seed. I think they'll be better than the Knicks. The Knicks will be last. The Pistons will be the second to last team in the Eastern Conference. But I can see them finishing as high as 12 or 13 and as low as 15. You know, I just think there's questions all around. You don't know what they're trying to do. And hopefully they trade some of these players to get some picks back. I wish they would have never gave up Luke Kennard or Bruce Brown or Christian Wood. But let's see what direction Troy Weaver wants to go in.
Yeah, I have them finishing at 14. The only reason I have them finishing at 14 is because I like Dwayne Casey as a coach. I think they have some talent, even though they're lost in a terrible direction. I think they're stuck. I do think they'll finish above one other team this year at 14. I could see them getting as high as maybe 12, but I could also see them easily finishing 15.